Hi there, Eric Bakker. Thanks for tuning in. We're back on the constipation path again. We've got a few videos to cover regarding this particular annoying but very common condition. So we've got a whole bunch of questions here regarding constipation from different people. But the first question is, what are the best foods to eat when you're constipated? Well, to make it easy for you guys, I've got a cheat sheet here. And I'll try and make this cheat sheet available for you to download. This is my actual clinic cheat sheet on best foods for constipation. So it's actually broken into 5 sections. So foods that lubricate the intestines, foods that promote bowel motions, soothing herbs, foods that enhance bowel flora, and bitter foods. So I'm going to go through those 5 categories, just explain why these 5 categories are important and the relevance of these categories, whether you need one or more or multiple categories to include in your diet if you've got constipation. So we're all told, if we have constipation, to eat more fiber, to drink more water. But what the heck does that mean? It doesn't really tell us anything, does it? I've not really seen a vegetable called fiber available in the shop. So it can be very confusing for people to work out what the best foods are. So let's start with foods that lubricate the intestines. So this is especially a good topic because these foods are a little bit higher in oil, good oils and good fats that help to lubricate the bowel, right? We all know, for example, if you take castor oil, if you take olive oil, well, it lubricates, doesn't it? If you've got a pair of, scissors or clippers or pliers that are difficult to use, if you put a drop of oil on them, they become easier to use. Funny that. So if you would include more foods in your diet that contain a good oil content or have lubricating qualities, wouldn't it make it easier for the bowel motions to be more easily transported through the digestive tract? Common sense. So one of my favorite foods, for example, is walnut. So walnut oil is quite a good oil for constipation. Walnuts have got particular acids in them that stimulate bowel motions. So this is quite a nice food to include in your diet. 2 or 3 walnuts per day. Just chew on them, swallow them, can make all the difference in the world. So let's look at these lubricating kind of foods. Spinach, sesame oil. We talked about the walnuts, but many different types of nuts could be possible too. But if you eat too many nuts, it can be constipating. But if you eat just a few of them, it can be lubricating. So almonds, for example, Brazil nuts and walnuts. Chew them very well, lubricating for the bowel. What about some other unusual foods? Okra. You might have heard of okra, that slimy kind of a vegetable that's often used in curries or gumbo, for example. That's a good one too. Beets, cauliflower, alfalfa sprouts, apricots, apples, peaches, prunes, pears, all lubricating foods. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hang on a minute, I can't eat any of those foods. They contain sugar and they're bad for my candida. Well, many people can eat a lot of these foods on this list. So when I make this list available, have a look at it and tick off the foods you'd like to try. But yeah, so the lubricating foods are good for very hard bowel motions or pebble-like motions or difficult to move out bowel motions. So if you've got a history of just evacuating small pebbles, for example, a little like sheep dung or things like that, these lubricating foods may fill the bill for you. Foods that promote bowel motions. So this category is good as stool bulking. So if you want more bowel motions or you want to have multiple bowel motions in a day, I've always maintained 1 bowel motion per day is required, but 2 is better. So by having these kind of foods in your diet, you're going to promote bowel motions and pass bigger motions and more frequently. So what are those foods? Cabbage, papaya, sesame seeds, coconut, sweet potato, asparagus, grapefruits, kiwi fruit. And then, of course, oat bran is a very good stool bulker and a cholesterol reducer. So there are many different types of foods here that are going to be advantageous for you to eat to bulk up the bowel motions. Soothing herbs is another category. These are good for hemorrhoids or if you've got pain in the rectal area, if you've got anal fissures or painful hemorrhoids, these sorts of things. If you've had any kind of operation done on the digestive tract, so any pain in that region, these demulcent or soothing herbs will be quite good to have. Marshmallow root, very, very good. Flaxseed, especially ground up flaxseed. Licorice root, slippery elm bark, Slippery elm bark powder is fantastic stool bulker, and also quite mucilaginous, so it helps to build good levels of beneficial bacteria. And then, of course, we've got the bowel, the flora-enhancing foods like miso and sauerkraut and kombucha and kefir and those sorts of foods. They enhance the flora of the bowel. And then the last category, the fifth one, are the foods that promote bile to flow. So these are bitter foods. They stimulate the liver, they stimulate the gallbladder to work. So many people don't pass good motions because they've got poor bile flow. This could occur post-surgery. For example, after gallbladder was removed, many people have difficulty passing bowel motions, but there are many other reasons why the liver may not be up to the right level of really working with the gallbladder to produce enough bile to get that stool softened, because bile softens the stool. So let's look at some of these category foods on the bitter foods that promote bowel motions. We've got endive, chicory, radicchio, one of my favorites. Radicchio is a nice sort of purpley kind of a lettuce that the Italians eat. It's quite bitter. Cos lettuce, that white sap in the lettuce, that particularly bitter sap, it's very, very good for the liver. Mustard greens, brassicas in general, like broccoli is bitter, kale is bitter. Cauliflower, dandelion leaves, very good to eat in spring and summertime. So the dandelion leaf is excellent for gallbladder and the liver. But so is the dandelion root. It can be dried out, made a tea out of, so it's good as well. And of course, grapefruits, my favorite, grapefruits. Grapefruits are excellent for liver function. So there you have it. That's just a quick overview of the 5 categories of different, food groups that could aid you in constipation. I'll make sure this cheat sheet is available for you. So, I hope that gives you a bit of insight and a bit of information, on how to overcome psoriasis by diet means alone. And on the bottom of this cheat sheet, there's sensible hints and tips on improving constipation. So, I hope this information is going to be of benefit for you. Thanks for tuning in.